The 1974 John F. Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark represents a remarkable intersection of American history, numismatic evolution, and the enduring cultural legacy of President John F. Kennedy, capturing both the artistic significance of the coin and the practical realities of post-1964 U.S. coinage. Minted at the Philadelphia Mint, as indicated by the absence of a mint mark, this coin is part of the long-running Kennedy half-dollar series that began in 1964, following the tragic assassination of Kennedy in 1963, when the nation sought a fitting tribute to its 35th president, and the series has since become a staple of American coinage, reflecting both the commemoration of an iconic figure and the evolution of minting technologies, materials, and circulation practices. The 1974 issue, produced entirely in copper-nickel clad composition with a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, marked a period in which the U.S. Mint was continuing its post-1971 policy of eliminating silver from circulation half-dollars. Creating coins that retained a silvery appearance, were far more durable and resistant to corrosion, a factor that is particularly important when evaluating coins in bad condition, where decades of handling, circulation, and environmental exposure may have produced extensive wear, scratches, discoloration, and flattening of the design. The obverse, crafted by Gilroy Roberts, features the now iconic portrait of John F. Kennedy, whose youthful and resolute expression, the carefully sculpted wave of his hair, the sharp definition of his eyes, nose, and mouth, and the flowing lines of his suit and tie originally presented a highly detailed and aesthetically striking image, framed by the inscription Liberty across the top, the national motto, In God We Trust, below, and the date, 1974, prominently displayed beneath the bust. But in a coin in poor condition, much of this fine detail has been worn down, leaving the portrait flattened, the lettering partially obscured, the high points of the design smoothed, and perhaps even minor nicks, dents, and scratches marking the coin's surface, which not only diminish its visual appeal, but also tell a rich story of the coin's journey through countless transactions, exchanges, and hands over the decades. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparow, presents the presidential seal, complete with the eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by a ring of stars and the inscriptions United States of America and half-dollar. Yet in heavily circulated or poor condition examples, the intricate details of the eagle's feathers, the shield, arrows, and branches may be worn or partially indistinct. The rim may exhibit dings or flattening, and the lettering may be uneven or faint, providing a tangible record of both the coin's longevity and the effects of everyday use, making even a low-grade specimen highly informative for collectors, historians, and educators seeking to study wear patterns, circulation behavior, and the long-term durability of copper-nickel-clad coinage. Although the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark was produced in substantial numbers, Philadelphia alone struck millions of coins that year. The survival of these coins in worn, damaged, or circulated condition provides a unique window into the history of U.S. coinage, allowing collectors to see firsthand how design elements degrade over time, how environmental factors such as humidity, temperature, and handling affect metal surfaces, and how everyday use transforms pristine mint products into historical artifacts that carry decades of human interaction. For numismatists, the study of such worn examples is invaluable, as it provides context for grading standards, illustrates the performance of the copper-nickel-clad composition in circulation, and highlights subtle differences between coins produced at different mints or using different planchet batches, which may still be discernible despite extensive wear, and further emphasizes that coins are not merely pieces of currency, but also living artifacts that record history through their physical condition, from scratches and dents to to toning and discoloration. Moreover, the Kennedy half-dollar series as a whole maintains strong collector interest due to its historical significance, iconic design, and representation of late 20th century American monetary and political history. And even a 1974 coin in poor condition contributes meaningfully to this narrative, serving as a bridge between the original silver issues of the 1960s and the fully clad coins of the 1970s, while offering insight into the cultural resonance of John F. Kennedy as a symbol of youth, leadership, and national identity. In educational settings, coins like the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, without a mint mark in bad condition, are used to demonstrate the effects of circulation wear, illustrate coin anatomy, including obverse and reverse designs, edge characteristics, and material composition, and provide a hands-on example of how numismatic study intersects with history, metallurgy, and art, allowing students, collectors, and casual enthusiasts to trace both the technological and cultural evolution of American coinage. Furthermore, worn coins carry an intangible, historical, and emotional value, reflecting decades of commerce, exchange, and human interaction, as each nick, scratch, discoloration, or flattening of detail documents the life of the coin in the economy, providing a tangible connection to ordinary Americans who handled these coins in daily life, from pocket change to cash registers, banks, and retail transactions. While the market value of a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark in bad condition is generally modest, often limited to its bullion or sentimental value rather than rarity, its significance lies in its role as a representative artifact of the Kennedy series, its educational utility, its historical context, and its ability to illustrate the passage of time and effects of circulation, all of which make it a compelling subject for collectors, historians, and enthusiasts seeking to understand the intersection of American history, coinage, and cultural memory. In sum, the 1974 John F. Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark, even when heavily worn or damaged, embodies a rich tapestry of artistic mastery, historical commemoration, metallurgical design, circulation history, and cultural symbolism, allowing anyone who examines it to appreciate not just the coin itself, but the broader story of American society, numismatic innovation, and the enduring legacy of a president whose image and ideals continue to resonate decades after his presidency, making even the most battered examples of this coin an endlessly fascinating, informative, and historically meaningful artifact that bridges the realms of art, history, economics, and cultural memory, while simultaneously providing an endlessly detailed subject for study, analysis, and collection, ensuring that each coin, no matter how worn or damaged, retains its place in the story of American coinage and the continuing remembrance of John F. Kennedy's impact on the nation. The 1979 John F. Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark is a coin of significant historical and numismatic interest, representing not only the continuing legacy of President John F. Kennedy, whose assassination in 1963 shocked the nation and led to a surge of commemorative coinage, but also the broader evolution of U.S. coinage in the post-silver era, when the United States Mint had fully transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition for all half-dollars intended for circulation, making the 1979 Kennedy half-dollar a fully clad coin with a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which gives it a silvery appearance similar to earlier silver coins, but with a much more durable and corrosion-resistant surface that was intended to withstand decades of daily use. The 1979 issue, without a mint mark, specifically indicates production at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally omitted mint marks from coins produced there at the time, differentiating it from Denver minted coins that bear a D mint mark, and San Francisco minted collector versions which may have proof finishes. And the absence of a mint mark can sometimes confuse casual collectors, but is critical in identifying the origin of this coin and in understanding its place within the larger Kennedy half-dollar series, which began in 1964 as a 90% silver coin and gradually transitioned to 40% silver in the special 1965-1970 issues, before settling on a copper-nickel-clad composition starting in 1971, thereby making all 1979 coins completely non-silver and purely clad, which influences both collector perception and intrinsic metal value. The obverse of the coin, designed by Gilroy Roberts, features a strikingly realistic portrait of President Kennedy, capturing his youthful vigor, clean-cut features, and the iconic wave of his hair, with the word Liberty boldly inscribed across the top, the date 1979 appearing directly beneath the bust, and the national motto, "In God We Trust," placed strategically to balance the design. Yet in coins that have seen significant circulation and are considered to be in bad condition, much of the intricate detail of Kennedy's hair, facial contours, and clothing lines may be worn down, smoothed over, or even partially obscured by surface abrasions, scratches, dents, discoloration, and other marks of wear that inevitably accrue as a coin travels through the economy. These circulated low-grade coins often display a flat appearance to the portrait, with the relief significantly reduced, making it harder to see the sharpness and precision that characterize the original design. And while this diminishes aesthetic appeal and numismatic grade, it does not negate the coin's historical importance or its value as a representative piece from that year. Even heavily worn coins provide insight into circulation patterns, coin durability, and the everyday experience of money over decades, giving collectors, historians, and enthusiasts a tangible link to American life in the late 1970s. The reverse side, designed by Frank Gasparow, features the presidential seal, an eagle with outstretched wings clutching arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other, symbolizing readiness for war and a desire for peace. Surrounded by a ring of stars, the inscriptions "United States of America" across the upper perimeter and $50 at the bottom. On a coin in poor condition, much of this intricate detail is worn away. The eagle's feathers may appear flattened, the arrows and olive branch indistinct, and the lettering partially rubbed off or uneven. Yet these very imperfections tell a story of a coin's life, highlighting the effects of circulation, handling, environmental exposure, and the passage of time, and giving collectors and numismatists a visual history that perfectly complements the coin's historical narrative. Furthermore, the edges of such coins may display nicks, dents, or small abrasions, and toning or discoloration may have developed over decades, ranging from dark gray to brown or even greenish hues, depending on the storage conditions, handling, and chemical exposure, which can create a unique character for each individual coin, sometimes adding aesthetic appeal for collectors who appreciate patina and history over pristine condition. While the 1979 Kennedy half-dollar was minted in very large numbers, with Philadelphia production alone exceeding over 200 million coins, coins that have survived in circulated poor condition are still valuable for educational, historical, and collection purposes, even if their market value is primarily sentimental or for set completion rather than intrinsic or numismatic scarcity. Collectors often use these lower-grade coins to illustrate the effects of wear on coin design, to teach grading standards, or to provide context within the Kennedy half-dollar series, which spans from 1964 to the present day, encompassing proof, uncirculated, silver, and clad variations, each with unique characteristics that reflect the technological, artistic, and economic trends of the era. The 1979 issue without a mint mark also allows numismatists to study the subtle differences between minting facilities, including striking pressure, die polishing, and planchet preparation, and to observe how these factors affect wear patterns over time. creating a highly informative and hands-on study piece for anyone interested in U.S. coinage. Coinage history, monetary policy, or even the cultural memory of President Kennedy, whose image and legacy continue to resonate decades after his presidency. In addition, coins in bad condition often carry stories that go beyond grading scales. They may have been part of pocket change in a small-town grocery store, exchanged in banks during the late 1970s, or handled by countless individuals across the country. Each mark, scratch, and discoloration adding a tangible narrative that cannot be captured by mint numbers alone. For this reason, even a heavily worn 1979 Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark is appreciated for its educational and historical significance, demonstrating how modern coins age, how cladding materials perform over time, and how the public interacts with currency on a daily basis. It is also important to note that while such coins rarely achieve the market premiums commanded by high-grade uncirculated examples, they retain their role in completing typesets, illustrating design evolution, and serving as teaching tools for collectors, students, and historians alike, while maintaining an undeniable connection to the memory of one of America's most iconic presidents, whose face on this coin represents a blend of artistic mastery, political commemoration, and enduring cultural symbolism that has allowed the Kennedy half-dollar to remain a popular and recognizable series for over 50 years. Finally, the 1979 Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark, in bad condition, offers a unique perspective on the intersection of historical commemoration, modern coinage production, and the practical realities of currency circulation. It provides collectors with an opportunity to observe firsthand the effects of wear and handling on a coin's design, to appreciate the legacy of President Kennedy, and to study post-1964 U.S. coinage within a broader economic and cultural context, reflecting how coins serve not just as monetary instruments, but also as artifacts of history, craftsmanship, and collective memory. From its detailed obverse portrait to its reverse presidential seal, from the material composition to the visible signs of wear, this coin encapsulates decades of American history, numismatic evolution, and the enduring fascination with John F. Kennedy's legacy, making it a valuable, instructive, and deeply interesting piece for anyone seeking to understand the intersection of money, history, and cultural remembrance, even when the coin itself shows the wear, scratches, discoloration, and flattening of detail that categorize it as being in poor condition, ultimately transforming a simple half-dollar into a tangible, living connection to the late 20th century, to Kennedy's presidency, and to the story of American coinage in the modern era, and ensuring that each coin, no matter how worn, remains a meaningful artifact for collectors, historians, and enthusiasts around the world.